Welcome to Sib Spot. Today's Reddit stories are from Am I the A-hole? Story 1 is by Mama of 4, 232. Would I be the a-hole if I called a little girl's mother to ask why my son wasn't invited to her birthday? I'm a 28 female and I have twin 5-year-old boys, Jude and Jonah. They go to a private Jewish kindergarten where it's very customary to invite the whole class to the birthday parties. It might even be a school rule, but I don't think I'm going to take this to the school. Jude and Jonah are very well-mannered and reserved. Obviously, I'm biased, but they have always gotten along with all their peers and have never gotten into any drama. Jude is definitely a slow reader, and we've gotten him a tutor, but it's been very hard for him. At our synagogue, the bathroom signs just say men and women with no little picture, as they are all single bathrooms. 2 weekends ago, Jude walked into the women's by accident, and I guess the door wasn't locked correctly because he walked in on this woman named Jess, who is the mother of a little girl in class. He says he just saw her on the toilet and ran out, closed the door, and said sorry. Jude immediately came up to me and told me he was very embarrassed. I told him it wasn't a big deal and he should just remember to knock next time, and the longer word on the door says women. He said he will, and he thought it would be a stalled bathroom like most public bathrooms, and that's fair, so I left it there. Jess came up to talk to me after and told me like he needed to be punished. She said it was extremely inappropriate. I assured her he didn't know and wouldn't do it again, but she said there's no way he can't read men and women, and that her daughter can, and told me I had to nip this behavior in the bud. I often feel talked down to because of my age by other parents at the school, so I just said I would take care of it and left it there. On Friday, her daughter was handing out birthday invites and gave one to Jonah, but not Jude. They both asked her why, and she said her mom said not to give him one and wouldn't tell her why. Jude cried the whole rest of the day and wouldn't tell anyone why because he doesn't want to be a tattletale. I asked Jude if anything else happened between the two of them, and he promised me it didn't and said they've even been playing together at recess the whole last week. And her daughter was trying to cheer him up by suggesting ways to sneak him in. I'm honestly livid. I wouldn't care if she had given neither of them an invite, but to give one twin and not the other is incredibly rude and passive-aggressive. I'm considering calling her and talking about it because I think it's ridiculous to hold this much of a grudge against a 5-year-old. Would that make me an a-hole? Should I just decline Jonah's invite? I think the birthday rule is silly and it's her choice who she invites, but this is just ridiculous. Edit. Synagogue and school are two separate places, but there's a lot of overlap with the people. Also, I'm not planning on sending either of them to the party at the moment, but I'm considering calling her to confront her about it rather than just having this weird dynamic where I'm hearing things from Jude that come from her kid that come from her. I can promise you every single person on the planet has walked in on somebody else in the bathroom at varying ages. I still remember at school I walked in on a coworker in one of those individual bathrooms. I knocked, they didn't say anything, and I tried the door handle and it happened to open. They didn't lock it. They were embarrassed and they knew that they'd messed up and they should have said something too. But some people are so private about using the restroom that they don't even want to say anything when they're in the restroom. People are all different. It's perfectly fine. This person apologized to me for me walking in on them, and nothing ever came of it. It was perfectly fine. But as a kid, when you're 5, you make mistakes like that. It's okay. You're not a pervert for walking in on somebody as a 5-year-old, and you immediately say sorry and you leave. And OP, if you want her to understand that her stance is incorrect, give her the link to this story. She'll see the hundreds of people who say, you're not the a-hole and you should confront her about it. She deserves to be confronted about this because she's in the wrong. And if she sees 200 people saying the same thing, maybe she'll change her tune. Down in the comments by Nervous Routine 870, not the a-hole. I think the friend's mom is being overly dramatic and petty about the whole situation. I think given all the factors like no picture, he's 5 years old, etc. are enough to show that the bathroom incident was a simple mistake that could have happened to any kid in similar circumstances. The initial conversation with the mom where she said you have to punish your son seemed weird to me. Had the girl only been friends with one of your sons, maybe the party invite would have been more understandable, but here it seems like the girl is friends with both of your sons, and the party invite was just the mom being ultra petty about the bathroom incident. And then there were tons of comments underneath this one where like, why wasn't the door locked? Down underneath that in the comments by Consistent Flan 1445. The real question is, why wasn't the door locked? Under that by Uncaring Hawk. I feel like the mom is too embarrassed she forgot to lock the door and is projecting the blame on the poor kid so she doesn't feel foolish. Under that by Ambitious Corner 3760, it's got to be this. Also, the kid is 5. It's not like a teenager coming in and pointing and laughing. Like the kid ran away and said sorry. What the F is wrong with this woman? And finally underneath that by Little Whittle Girl. It could have been any adult walking into the bathroom since she didn't lock the door. I've done that plenty of times and did exactly what the 5-year-old did. Apologized and shut the door and waited my turn. Most people would forget about this interaction within minutes, and she's holding a grudge against a kid for her mistake. Insane behavior. I would definitely make sure you don't send your other kid to this birthday party because it sounds like Jess is a little unstable. I would also confront her about it. She needs to know she's in the wrong. And show her this post if you need somebody to back you up with it. She can look at this and be like, all these people think I'm wrong? Oh my gosh, I might actually be. Our next story today is by Lilla A2. Am I the a-hole for not caring what my husband's disabled cousin wants? I'm a 27 female and my husband is 27, and we have a baby boy who is 6 months old. His 2 brothers have kids too, 3, and 1-year-old. His aunt has a disabled son who's 25 who I will call Jimmy. Jimmy is physically and mentally disabled. He is like a 5-year-old boy, can't walk properly, hold things, etc. I really love Jimmy and I'm trying to do everything to make him happy, but since I had my baby, I can't focus on what he wants if that affects what my baby needs. For example, he wants to play with his ball and some card games. He doesn't understand the rules, everyone just throws a card until it's done all the time. The problem is if I feed my baby or he is sleeping in my arms or anything else, I can't play with him because I have my hands full. I think he does understand it a bit, but doesn't stop saying I should play with him until my husband tells him to just leave me alone. But then Jimmy's mom will freak out and yell at us and tell us we should do what Jimmy wants, but I simply can't. He always rotates on which one of us he wants to play with, but we all have kids, so I'm not the only one who this happens with. Jimmy's mom says that we're all mean and shouldn't come over to her house if we're only going to bring negative energy and make her baby sad. None of us is trying to make Jimmy sad, and I really think, I've known him for 8 years, that he understands if you tell him loud and clear, but his mom just wants him to have everything, and therefore tells us to do what he wants. And then Jimmy is confused. Plus he knows if his mom is there, he gets everything he wants. If we're alone with him, this doesn't happen, because if we tell him 3 times we can't play, he says okay and goes on. The last straw was when we were on vacation at Jimmy's family beach house, which has a pool. We were all there, but Jimmy got sick because he has a weaker immune system than we have. We and the 4 kids wanted to go into the pool because it was like 100 degrees outside, but Jimmy's mom said we can't because Jimmy can't and that's unfair. Edit, she wanted us to sit inside and play games with Jimmy, but how do you tell 4 kids that they can't go swimming because Jimmy's sick? Fair enough, I understand, but it was so hot and the kids wanted to go swimming, so we told her we will go to the beach, but then she said we have to take Jimmy with us, because he wants to come too, which doesn't make sense, because 1, he can't go in the water, what are we supposed to do with him, and 2, we have 4 kids and no time to take care of him, especially if we go swimming with kids, it can be dangerous. Everyone looked around and no one wanted to say anything, so my husband and I told her the reasons why we can't take him with us. Jimmy's mom freaked out and said that we are bullying her son and we are treating him bad and not equally because he's disabled. And I told her that we can't treat him equally because he's disabled and it doesn't make any sense. Then I told her we could tell him that we're going somewhere not fun so he wants to stay home and watch TV. She told me that I'm being a bad human being for lying to him so that he doesn't want to come and that we're excluding him, and she threw us out of the house. So, am I the a-hole? He's 25. I understand that there are older people who are very childlike when they are disabled, but she needs to let him go a little bit. She really does. He may be mentally and physically handicapped, but she's adding to the problem and not allowing people to say no to him when necessary. It sounds like she needs to let go and let people say no to him on occasion when they're busy or they have a child in their arms. And The whole beach park incident thing, you don't have to have her permission to go to the beach. Just take your kids and go to the beach. Say, we're going to the beach. It's hot out. You won't let us swim here. We're going. And he's sick. You said he can't go in the water. He should probably not be at the beach either. And you guys really should just go rent a place. Go rent a place. Stay somewhere else. I understand that she really wants to protect her child from any kind of exclusion, from any kind of bullying. But you also have to allow people to tend to their own kids and not play with them when they feel like playing. Jimmy wants to play with me. I'm going to put my baby down. My baby's going to cry, but at least Jimmy will be happy. No, that's not how it goes. There's a fine line there, and his mom is way over it. Down in the comments by Elon Musk ate my son. Not the a-hole. She's kind of disrespectful to her own son for treating him like a complete baby and infantilizing him. He obviously has an understanding of boundaries because he listens to you guys when she's not there, so she's just enabling this learned behavior. It sounds like you guys are around each other a lot, so I just cut back in that and be clear with her that you have a child to take care of, and that's your priority. If she makes a big stink about it, then it's her loss. And underneath that by Heavy Sand 5228. Agreed, you and your husband have just recently become parents and don't need an extra stressor of her getting mad at you two for behaving rationally. I'm only doing these 2 stories today because they seem kind of long. Hopefully after I edit all my errors and mistakes, it will still be a sufficiently long episode. Until we meet again, have an awesome day.